Hi, my name is Braden, a professional gourmet chef and a culinary artist, and today I'm going to teach you how to cook. Cooking is a skill that everyone needs to acquire when they're young, especially when they're trying to get into jobs such as KFC or McDonald's. From first-hand experience, these jobs require a lot of skill, and they don't just let a random 15-year-old get in just because they have a higher availability than you. So today, we're going to be cooking some chicken. So let's get started. Now remember, when cooking, it's essential that we always have a clean and tidy kitchen. We don't want like lots of pans just floating around and like a lot of unwanted items just lying on the kitchen bench. So we need to make sure that our bench is always clean. Bro, someone forgot to clean this. Now remember, when cooking, you always need to ensure that you have a clean workspace like me. I don't want to see any mess around. Like, you should always clean up immediately after yourself, not even just leave anything in the sink or just pans lying around. And follow me as a good example of always being neat and tidy. Now, before we begin, make sure you press the like button and the subscribe button and the follow button and the share button and all the other buttons. And because I'm really trying to hit this goal of 219 subscribers. This has been on my mind ever since I was 10 years old. So please, if you could do all of this, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. So in case you guys didn't know, this is the second part of how to cook. If you haven't watched the first part, it's highly recommended that you go back and watch the first one before coming onto this video. But I noticed that a lot of criticism from my previous video was I even cooking meat? Well, today I'm cooking some chicken. See, this here is RSPCA approved chicken. I don't know what that stands for, but that doesn't matter because this is what we're gonna be cooking today. So before we start actually cooking, I'd like to mention that we should always have our workspace filled with lots of pans, cutting boards. We need to make sure we're always prepared. Otherwise, if you always clean up after yourself and always have a tidy workspace, then it's more of a hassle to actually get out the equipment to start cooking again. So make sure to be more efficient and productive like me. We just want to save time. We want to have everything prepared before we even start. Now, before we start cooking, we need to assess which knife that we need to use. So, what you need to do is make sure you have all your knives lined up like this, and make sure you see the sharpness of the knife or the length and width of the knife that you want to use. And you need to do a full assessment. This assessment usually takes 5 minutes. We don't want to mess up when we're cooking the chicken or accidentally cutting ourselves. So we need to take these safety precautions before we start. This is very important. After carefully analyzing which knife that we need to use, now we need to use it to cut open the plastic. And now that we've used our knives, we can put this away because we actually don't need it anymore since the breast fillets, the chicken fillets have been already cut for us, so we actually don't need the knives. So now we can just chuck that away and we can get started to cooking. Before we cook, it's important that we actually boil our food. So we're just gonna set a 5-minute timer and let this thing run. Now while we're waiting, we can prepare the lettuce and other sources of protein. I like to have eggs. So what you want to do is you want to go to your friend's house and take their leftover lettuce and just wash it thoroughly. Because remember, waste not, want not. Another man's trash, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And And for the eggs, we want to make sure that it's cage free, you know? You don't want to be eating eggs that have been put in a cage, like that's kind of stupid. So we want to just grab our eggs, covers this area, and just crack them nicely. Make sure that you stir these eggs properly, because since I don't have a beater, I will use a fork, like a stirrer thing. Now we just need to put everything into the pan. So what the first thing we want to do is heat the pan. So what you can do is use a lighter and light it up, but I'll just use the gas thing. No. And make sure you can see the flames. If you can't see the flames, what you might have to do is go and like quickly put your hand over the thing, but I can already see the flames, so I don't have to do that. After a few minutes, the pan should heat up by now. So what we're going to do is use the oil and just bring it around the pan. And when we do that, we're going to transfer the chicken from the previously boiled pan to the frying pan now. But before we do that, we need to make sure that we're fully safely equipped to make sure we don't burn ourselves or anything like that. So now that we're fully equipped, we can now transfer everything into the pan and start cooking. I'm getting kind of hungry, you know. So it's best to use like a movable object. Luckily, if you look hard enough, you'll find it. So let's move the stuff. Now, unfortunately, my audio is going to be stopped because of this guy. It's making too much noise. So you're just going to have to watch and learn. I'm providing a visual learning for you guys. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that behind this cupboard has everything you ever need for cooking. It has everything that you can ever imagine. So right now, I'm going to use all these ingredients and make the food taste better. So what we want to do is get all our ingredients from here. And so basically, this is the Himalayan pink salt. So it's directly from the Himalayas, the Tibet, and all that. And it's produced, it's packed in India. So basically, I know some people from India who specifically exported this and they sent it all the way to me. So this is very rare. Not many people have this in their house, and it just makes the food taste 10 times better, and it makes the food worth a lot more. So I'm going to start selling some of these foods because, you know, this thing is very expensive. Once we do that as well, I'm gonna just get some spices. You know, I stole this from my friend's place. He still doesn't know that, but we want to add some spice, and yeah. now that we're done with the main food, what we want to do is get our already boiled rice from the cupboard and scoop it out onto a plate, and then now we can start. So what I actually forgot to mention was the meal that we just made is actually for my dog. So you can just chuck that away, because we're not actually going to eat that, because that would be unhygienic and disgusting. That's the whole reason why I mix everything together, to save time, to be efficient, to be productive. So I'm just going to chuck this in the fridge. So now what we actually want to do is go to our microwave and get the dinner from last night. And what we're going to do to make sure since we're cooking chicken, is we're actually going to go outside and we're going to offer this to the storks. So now, after waiting for 2 minutes, I just heard something. So let's see what that ruffle was outside. So after 2 minutes, you should be getting a bag of KFC, and inside should be my dinner. And yeah, everything's intact. So yeah, bon appetit. So thanks guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up. If you learned something new about how to make some professional chicken from a professional gourmet chef and culinary artist like me, make sure you leave a like. If this video gets 5 likes, I will wash all the dishes myself with a scrub. So make sure you like that video, or else the dishes will not be washed.